Hey, so welcome to week 2 videos. You've made it through your first couple adjustments, and so you get the major premises of what we're trying to do and trying to achieve with you. And this week 2 video is what you can start to be expecting during this time. So already you might be noticing improvements, already noticing increased range of motion. You may be noticing that you just feel generally lighter, more calm, less tense in your areas of particular tension. You may notice that you're just noticing your body a little bit more, and that's one of our main goals. In the case of stress, you may be noticing that you are sleeping better, that you are less tired, that you are able to have more energy to do things that you love to do, that you have been more present in the things that you have been doing and your mind isn't wandering around as much, and that you have really begun to notice what's happening in your body, notice the little things that are starting to change. That's where you are in the stage of week 2. When you start to notice improvement, if you did come in with any symptoms, the symptoms might be dissipating. So in particular, pain is one of the last symptoms to show up and the first symptoms to leave. So even though what we have is an underlying problem, the pain is the last thing, and the pain is the way that our body communicated to us that we really needed to change our behavior. Now that we're changing our behavior, our pain is no longer needing to signal that, but it doesn't mean that there's still not underlying work to be done. So you may recall, if I gave you this example when you were in the office, that pain is like the fire alarm going off that there's been a fire going on. So we see the fire alarm, we put out the fire, and then the fire alarm goes off, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't damage done, that we need to go back, clean up, rebuild, etc. during that fire time. So that's just an analogy of what pain is, the service of pain to our body, and how it is not necessarily the marker that everything's all okay. Once the pain or the symptomology goes away, it doesn't mean that everything is completely back to normal, but it does mean that we're on the right track. So way to go. I'm glad that you are feeling less symptomatic. Remember that we are still breaking down those old patterns from our nervous systems and our neurology. And depending on how long those patterns have been there, it can take a while to break those down. Also, our physical manifestations of old patterns like adhesions and fixations in our joints and in our tissues, those can take a while to break down and heal. And this is where we're really doing the work in the office to break through those old patterns in our tissues. So remember that the goal is that we break down the old patterns and rewrite a new pattern. And so you're still in the kind of breaking down the old pattern phase here at week 2. In week 2, your life work continues outside of the office. We are trying to create new habits. And as you know, or you may have heard before, that it takes 14 days to create a new habit. So in week 2, that's when you reach those 14 days of continuing a new habit. So keep up the good work in your life work and your outside activities and exercises and practices, because this is when it's going to really start to stick and really start to become easy, because you've created a new habit out of it and a new positive habit that helps you in your life. Continue noticing what you noticed this week. And one of the major things that you can notice are triggers to old habits. So it might be really easy for 1 week that you're really focused and you're taking time to meditate or taking time in the morning to kind of relax, so you haven't gone back into that stress pattern. But then say you get a day where you're in just really bad traffic and you just start to notice your shoulders hunch and you get into that old pattern again. We want to notice our triggers for what sends us into our stress response and kind of begin to utilize tools and areas of where we can snap out of that stress response as soon as possible so that it doesn't go back into its old chronic pattern. Again, recall that we are moving away from the sympathetic and into the parasympathetic as much as possible. Doesn't mean that we're never going to have a sympathetic response, but it means that we are going to apply it to the times in which we really need that little rush of adrenaline, and then shift very easily back into our normal resting state. Remember that your body is doing this work for you. Your innate intelligence is the one that is starting to take this new input and reorganize itself. So give your body a hug, have gratitude for your body, thank it every day, do things to support it because it really just wants to help you. And I am so happy to be facilitating this process with you, facilitating this new relationship between you and your innate intelligence, and giving you some tools to help you get through your life and keep out of that negative stress response. Looking forward to week 3. It's going to be even better. Keep it up. You're doing great. Take care.